What's up, guys? It's Tuesday. No, man, I'm already a day off. How about that? Wednesday night. That means it's time for another NNR Xfinity race. And just like you saw the trucks last night, these guys right back here at Iowa. I told you the trucks were loading up. Xfinity was getting pulled in. Cars were being unloaded. And man, there were a lot of fireworks in the pits last night after that amazing ending. Even though in NNR they really don't want you to act out and do all that. Expert, he's here in the booth with me. So is Vols. I think Vols actually said earlier that he went back and watched the race and got kind of caught up with everything. But Expert, you were here with me live when all that was going on. It happened right on stream because, the leader ended up being the one taken out. But I gotta say, as bad as it may be, it was nice to see someone act out on their emotion, not act like a robot like what we see in everyday NASCAR nowadays. We saw the whole thing with Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano. We saw, Chase Elliott and I think it was Denny Hamlin and all that. But it was nice to see somebody not swallow it for once and actually get something back on them after they felt like they were wronged. Expert, what do you think, and what do you think we're going to see tonight?
Well, tonight it's going to be, we've seen patterns continue. We saw it last week. We've seen it in the weeks prior. So I expect there to be more fireworks being shown tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Last night, like you said, was very interesting, a very interesting ending. And with these back-to-back short tracks and even heading to Dover next week that runs like a short track, this is going to be a very fun 3 weeks for us up here in the booth.
Absolutely. Vols, you got it in last week. Here we are back again. Then, like Expert just said, next week we're going to Dover. 3 tracks where it's very, very easy to ruffle some fenders, to smash in somebody's quarter panel, to really get into somebody, whether you mean it or not. It's like, oops, I'm sorry. We're just, very, very tight, confined quarters. What do you see coming up tonight?
Well, there's a difference between accidentally getting into somebody and doing it repetitively. If one of these drivers here in the Xfinity series, and these are some of the best guys to have on Xbox across the board, patience, they're kind to one another, and they take care of each other. I expect to see good hard racing. There might be some contact going on. There might be some hurt feelings at the end of this race, but it's a product of short track racing, and Iowa produces a lot of it. It's 250 laps around here. Stage 1 is 60 laps, so we're going to go into a really long run to start this race. 60 laps doesn't seem like a lot, but here at Iowa it is. And now, it's gonna make for a great race. And tonight I expect to see a lot of bent sheet metal.
I would imagine so. Last night we saw all kinds of action. 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide, at times 5 wide, and sometimes coming through the corner, they looked like they were fanned out to, they were up at the wall all the way down to the bottom white line. Just sent you guys your invites for tonight. You're ready to see bowling out there, saying good luck tonight. Xfinity drivers, have fun in the booth. Commando Griff also saying thanks for the action tonight, fellas. We will do our best and put on a show. Commando Griff, I have no doubt every time you pilot that 13, you seem to always be right in the thick of things. Good luck tonight, buddy. Go get them. But we're kind of moving around. We will have 1, maybe 2 onboards tonight. One with Cinepuse and the other with Combat Beast. Combat Beast was having some technical difficulties, but we're going to go through the field, fellas. Looks like it's going to be the one of Cole 315 on the pole. He's going to be tonight's control car. 44 Baritone Boss in P number 2, so that's going to be your front row. 4 car PTH the GOAT. He has not failed to get up there and get down and dirty when he needed to. The 54 of KFB18 back in that Twix machine. 15 of King Mathers, forever strong. 13 of Commando Griff, there is the man. I race clean in that 18 Monster Machine, the 11 of Cinepuse, one of our onboards, 98 of Old Master Killer, good to see him, 78 of Unforgotten Shadow, big conversation with him in pre-race, the 5 car, a Lil Tank, always strong when it matters as well, 22 of Yotes King, good to see him, the 10 of Old Tweeter with the 9 of Q-Dog, your series points leader, up right now sitting about mid to 3/4 way through the pack, the 8 car of Combat Beast in that Hellman's Camaro, and then we are back up front, and we are side by side. I guess they realized that we were still going through the field, so they held them for one more extra lap, as they normally do at these short tracks. But guys, we're going down this backstretch. It's going to be the Oreo Camaro against this number 44 Rebellion Market Camaro. Vols, who do you got tonight?
Every time I pick the 15, something happens. But tonight I'm looking at the 4, PTH the GOAT. He came off of a great run last week. I believe he won at Bristol. I just think he's way too strong. Tonight's going to be no different.
Expert, what you got?
Well, right here, I'm looking at the guy who's been improving week after week as we have officially hit the green flag lap. It's going to be the 54 of KFB. That's a guy that I'm going to be interested in looking at through the night's race. Not sure who's going to win yet. I'll put that prediction out there in chat at the end of stage 2 after scouting these guys for the first 2 stages. But that 54 is going to be an interesting one. Him and PTH, the GOAT, have been showing great rookie campaigns so far this season.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, guy that came back, old Cole 315, he's up front. He was able to lead that first lap. Anytime Cole has qualified well, he's always raced pretty well, as long as he doesn't get mixed up in something. Guys, they are 2 by 2 for the first 2 rows. Last night we saw the top line really hold whole lot of momentum. Right now, it looks like Baritone Boss, he's going to try to get underneath that one, take the spot solely for him, as you see a hard charge by the one on the outside. There is that outside Vols I was just talking about. He's going to be able to go ahead and take lap 2 possibly as well if the 44 can stay pinched down.
Yeah, the top side here is one of those that you want to get as early as you can in the run. When the tires are good and you've got good grip on them, you want to ride that high to middle line. But when the tires start to wear down, you're saving lines down there on the bottom. And if you can create speed down there, we watched the 20th full milk last night. He was able to roll that bottom. Yeah, the high side will hold off, but the bottom side's going to prevail tonight as you see the 4 car going there trying to make it 3 wide for the lead.
Yep, going to try to make it 3 wide for the lead. Expert, last night we saw 3, 4, and a couple times 5 wide. That time, Baritone Boss looks like he might have actually backed out of it just a little bit. Now the 4 of PTH the GOAT that's got 1 win on the season. Here comes that 54. He's going to shoot the gap, try to thread that needle, get it ducked down, but not quite able to keep it now without washing up into the 1. Good job by him to keep it off the 1 car. 1 car is going to go ahead and be able to lead yet 1 more lap. Big battle now between the 4 and 54.
Definitely, and with that 1 being able to hold these guys off, you can see the charge, the 54 able to take that line away from the 1, and that's something that a lot of these guys are going to have to pull as far as strategy. The guys that you see predominantly running the high line that are really fast up there, you got to make them try to get ready to run the bottom as well. Take them out of the line that they're comfortable with and put them in a place that they haven't been able to touch yet and see if they could try to run there. It's going to be the differences of what can win you the race and gain position as far as the different types of things you can do with your car later in the run that's going to decide a winner here tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but I've been on board with the 4. And last lap, as they were coming through the corner, they looked like a big V formation, like a big flock of geese. And it was absolutely showing off all the different lines here. They may not have been 5 wide, but they were showing off the 5 different lanes that this track is capable of holding. The 54 of KFB 18, he's now got the lead. He's got a new P2 car, and I think that's going to be the 47 of Bill's Legend. If I'm not mistaken, nope, it's going to be the 78, rather, of Unforgotten Shadow. I thought it was that Trump machine coming up. Howler says, hey, Pete, how many are we racing tonight? We are racing 250 laps and just shy of 20 cars. right back here at Iowa. Good to see you. Brom, good to see you. I am Iron Man, yelling out hashtag JPOD Militia, calling out for Q-Dog and Boss. So yeah, a lot of people that fully support their teammates or their friends, whether they're here in Xfinity, they're Cup, they're in trucks, no matter where it is. There you go. Balls, talk to me, buddy.
Oh man, I'm just sitting here. I'm caught up with how great this racing is. I've been paying attention. The 22 and the 9, I believe they had a little contact with one another. Not trying to speculate, but Q-Dogs in the 22 of Yotes King, they fell back off the pace just a little bit, riding along board with this 22, and they're close. I think they're close to going a lap down here as the leaders are just crossing the start-finish line. He's just on the middle of the back straightaway, and something's happened to the 78. He's on the bottom, and he's spinning out. He got on the apron, and he's around.
Well, Expert, that's not going to be good. I mean, the 78, he was just up front, but he was looking a little loose. I almost wonder if maybe after qualifying, he didn't change his preset over to his race setup, and he started wicked loose. A lot of these guys will try, one or two preset steps higher for qualifying, and like they say, loose is fast and on the edge of out of control. Well, if you're trying to carry maybe a 7 around this place, I don't know, I'm spitballing here, but if you're trying to carry a higher preset than what you can actually race, I've been there before a few years ago when I ran an Xfinity race at Chicagoland. I forgot to change my setup, and it completely screwed my race from the get-go. If that's the case, it's going to be a long night for the 78 Expert.
Definitely, but I think also a big problem for him is going to be lag right now. That's what I'm mostly getting while on board with him, and it is that it looks like he's lagging a bunch. I don't know if that's just on my screen, but if that's the case, that could also play a big factor because it really takes away the amount of moves you can make. These guys, we saw the 54 split a gap that took him to the lead. And if you're lagging, you can't afford to split that gap because not only could that get you possibly in some trouble, but that could put the drivers around you in some trouble as well. And you definitely don't want to do that as a lagging car here in this really tight race.
Not at all. Looks like we got a little bit of a breakaway here. We got a top 3. You see, there's King Mathers. Balls. He's sitting P2. You got the 54 double Twix car of KFB 18. Right now, though, everybody chasing PTH the GOAT. Behind them, there's a good 15 to 20, maybe even more car length distance. So I'm going to guess there was some contact behind the 54 that caused everybody to fall back. No real competition for these three, but yet they're still going to race side by side. 15 of King Mathers, he wants to lead, trying to look underneath that 4 car. Nothing doing, coming off 3 and 4. They're going to have a lot of attempts at that tonight, either up high, down low, middle line, anywhere they want to go. But Vols, the guy that you were kind of sketchy about picking, sitting P2 right now.
Yeah, he's probably going to kick my butt for not picking him here. But like I said, every time I do pick him, something happens. I picked him to win Bristol. Something came about. He wrecked. He got loose off the exit of turn number 4 and spun it out. But I mean, I've just been paying attention to what the 4's been doing. And the 4's just been consistent. He's been the embodiment of consistency in the Xfinity series since he's jumped on board, and he started doing these races. You know, we constantly see him running in the top 3. We see him leading these races. We see him winning these races. And it's huge. You come to a track like this, you built momentum coming out of Bristol in the short track swing. You know, like we talked about, we've got Bristol, Iowa, then Dover. If you can build momentum leaving the concrete canyon over at Bristol, and you can go to Iowa and you can put a good showing on, you know, Dover seems like it's going to be a cakewalk for you. But these 2 drivers right here in the top 2, they've separated themselves. The 54 is right there with them, and then there's a huge gap between 4th on back. And it's just remarkable what these 3 drivers have been able to do in the Xfinity Series.
Guys, gals, everybody out there, big welcome to the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only HD Motorsports out there in chat. Oh, vroom, vrooming. HD, I'm glad you're able to come out, but I tried to find your stream for whatever you were racing tonight over on YouTube, but I couldn't find them. I guess maybe you're starting a little bit later. Thanks for coming out, man. Absolutely good to see you. Hope all's well, sir. But a little bit further behind these guys, you see the 13 of Commando Grip sitting right behind the 18. A little bit of a tuck there. Not too bad. HD does not suck by any way, shape, or form. Get that crap out of your mouth right now. Anyway, we're still going to work on through Expert. The 18 of iRace, he was one of the first guys in chat this afternoon, getting ready to go. I think he's going to have a pretty good race. He seems like he's really keeping that car wound up around that high side, able to stay in front of the 13 and not allowing the 13 to come up off the corner, get back in the throttle and get going. That's it. We saw a lot of that last night, but so far 18's really making it work for him. The only thing he's got to make sure he doesn't do is burn off that right rear. If he lets that car roll through the corner, get back on the throttle, he keep doing what he's doing, and they'll still be able to make up time. The 13's not going to be able to do anything because he needs the space to wash up towards the wall one more time. 13 being pinned down low, 18's going to go ahead and keep him behind him that lap also. But by the way, here comes the 11 and other company.
Definitely, and you're talking about the 18. I've known iRace Clean for about 2 years, and this is one dude. He's sitting right now in fourth in this second pack, but one thing that we saw is a guy come out of nowhere running mostly in the top 5 last night to go on and win the race. This could be a guy that could go on and win the race tonight. Like I mentioned, I've known iRace Clean for about 2 years, and the whole time I've known him in league racing, with racing against him or racing around him or working with him on setups and stuff like that, he's been known as the guy who will sit back, be patient, and close in on the perfect moment. And what a better place to be able to have that type of situation than Iowa. We saw it last night, and hey, we've seen a lot of patterns between the Truck and Xfinity series throughout the year. We might see it again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, different, whether it's an Xfinity car or a truck or a Cup car, you're going to be able to see the same lines, the same momentum, everything carried around. I asked J-Pop before we kicked the race off tonight if this was the same race where we ran those Beamish Fern charity races for, which, by the way, HD Motorsports was part of. It was actually on his channel back in the day. And we saw him high, wide, and handsome. And I had never seen that around this place before. You can absolutely carry a lot of speed and keep control of your resources so you don't burn them up too quick. It looks like some guys are starting to pit, and the last time Cinepuse came across the start stripe, I saw, just about 30 laps to go here in stage 1. Seems like everybody's going to cut the stage right down the middle. Vols, more and more people heading down pit road for those 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. Fill it up with just what they need to get to the end of the stage to keep the cars light. But we saw a lot of ground caught up on by those with fresh tires earlier. What do you think?
Well, breaking it in half, it's a 60-lap stage. 38 laps is what you get on fuel here. It's going to be interesting to see how long the leaders stay out compared to the people that force them to come in. The moment these guys a little bit further in the pack start coming down is when you start making the leaders make a decision. You want to gain as much time as possible to get up front. And the men that are pitting right now that are making a little bit of headway here as Cinepuse is going down. And man, I've been attracted to his paint scheme here. It's the beautiful leaffilter.com, thanking the Vietnam veterans. I've never seen this paint scheme before. It's gorgeous.
Well, Expert, the one guy that Vols was kind of weary about picking is still in the lead. King Mathers had not come down pit road, and of course, just as I say that, he's going to go ahead and bring this Camaro to the attention of his pit. I can just about guarantee he's kicking himself in the butt for running that one extra lap, because in that time, the guys that were second or third, they're going to be able to carry a whole lot more speed all the way around. He's got to really hope for a great pit stop. We know how this RNG is. You can go in and have a great 14.2 second pit stop, or you can come on in and have a 16.8, cost you all kinds of time on track, just as we see the 18 of iRace Clean come across the nose of the 15 as he was pulling into his stop. We're going to see just how much time that lap or two is about to cost King Mathers when he comes out of the pits.
in that lap or two, like you mentioned, we saw it last night in which it affected the gaps that you were talking about and such, to where it allowed guys to be able to pull away. We saw it the whole time with the battle with Spoiled Milk and NNR Bowling. Unfortunately, them being the two dominant cars didn't really work out for them, but it showed just how important these green flag pit stops, and when you come into pit in comparison to your peers out on track, really can determine where you are when it comes to end these stages or possibly to the end of the race.
Well, I'll tell you what, the 54 and the 4 balls, they are back nose to tail. And I don't see that 50. Oh, there's. I think that's the. No. Yeah, that's the 15 right behind them now. So while the 15 is going to be able to run them back down because he's going to be on a lap or two fresher tires in the long run, he's also got their draft. So not much draft around a short track normally, but this isn't your typical short track. You can carry all kinds of time. You can stay right tucked up behind somebody. As just as I say that, here is the 15 all over the back end of that Twix Toyota, and our top 3 are right back together again. But 15's not in the lead. He's got to pass the 54, and he's got to pass this GOAT up front, coming to just about 20 to go. Next time by, I believe. But man, this top 3 has completely broken away, left the rest of the field. Treewade wants to know how Baritone Boss is doing in that 44. Treewade, I'll actually go through the field here in just a second. Our top 3 have found each other one more time. 22 to go. Let's find old boss. All right, Baritone Boss, I believe he started in P number 2. Right now he's sitting somewhere outside the top 6. I can tell you that. Not exactly sure where, but he's a little bit further outside the top 5. NNR Monster, what's happening, man? How are you? Long time no see. You're absolutely welcome, Treewade. Vols, this 44, he sat on pole. Sat on the outside pole. The one car, Cole 315, had the pole. So it was kind of a hashtag JPOD militia lockout, but they've seemed to have fallen back. The 44 is now right with the 9. 9 started about, 3/4 way through the field, and now they've seemed to have found each other. And oh, by the way, they got Master Killer, their unofficial teammate, right there, right in front of them. Do you think these guys are just pacing themselves, or are they actually trying to catch up?
If I was them, I'd just pacing myself. It's a long race. The Xfinity Series really doesn't have many cautions, but when the stage breaks, you get a chance to fill your car out. There's no sense in sitting up and blocking people and trying to stay in the top 4, top 5. If you can just sit back and pace yourself right around, learn what the car is doing, and every stage break you can make changes. You can make better changes to your car. And by the end of the race, I expect to see more people up front that are there. At the end of stage 2, we'll see who exactly has the best setup. Because during the green flag pit stops, you don't have an opportunity to make big adjustments. So into stage 2, I expect the beginning of stage 3 for this race to get a little bit more hairy. But these top three started this race on the preset they wanted, and the 15 wearing the 4 down.
Expert, I'm very surprised. I mean, yeah, typically when we go into a green flag pit stop and we come out, we've got all kinds of separation on the field. Well, I'm thinking that there's actually more separation than what we saw in the trucks last night. There's really not too many people left around each other. You got a clip of 3, here or there, but for the most part, most people have a whole lot of clean track in front of them to really just race the track, make up the best time that they can, run as many qualifying laps as they can. With 15 laps to go, it is winding down. Stage 1, the end of stage 1 is getting closer and closer. The 4 car, PTH the GOAT, still has the 18 and the 15 in his rear view. Here's a good little battle. I believe right now this is for 4th, 5th, and 6th, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like the 8 of Combat Beast starting to work his way on up.
Definitely, the 13 got into the outside wall right there and was allowing that 8 to really run around the bottom side, but the 13 able to hold on to that outside lane and try to get back the time that he lost, but it looks like the 8 might clear him off the corner here this time by. Actually, the 13 is going to build up a run again, but that just shows how big this top side is to be able to have a successful race. We saw Spoiled Milk be able to run without it, but at times he was forced up there by Bowling, in which he had to adjust, and that's the big thing here, is that you have to be able to adjust to the different types of lines and be able to run all of them, but you also have to remain consistent, especially in these Xfinity cars, in which these cars are set up to where consistency is key. That's why they're all spread out a lot differently than what we saw in the truck race, is that these guys are completely apart from each other because of the different ability as far as consistency. So right now you can see the most consistent cars start moving up. They're not really losing time. They're starting to gain a little more time on the guys who are wearing their stuff out on the early run and can't really perform as well in the long run.
Mama Vols out there in chat. Bama, always great to see you. Thanks for coming out. Got your boy up here in the booth. Decided to borrow him for a couple hours. Definitely appreciate you. A little bit of a side-by-side battle here between the 1 and the 18 of iRace Clean. So Cole 315, he started on pole. He's sitting back here with the 18. Looks like he might be able to pull a little bit of a slide job to get up in front of the 18. 18 with a big run. All kinds of momentum in that monster Toyota, but it looks like the one is, well, he's going to make a liar out of me. I thought the one was going to be able to have enough room in order to take that spot, but man, Vols, we've shown over and over and over again just how much you can get done with that high side. Seeing a lot of dancing out of these cars, a little bit of lag spike. Just saw the 18 actually put himself in the wall, but I'm guessing he might have broken a little loose. That's going to leave that spot to Cole uncontested. Still working our way through the field here, Vols.
Yeah, when you get on the bottom right here, when you go to get back in the gas, the car likes to slide up just a tad bit, and you have to catch it. It's like a catch 22. You can run the bottom for a little bit, but if you don't have the car stable enough to hook the bottom and to stay rotating down there on it, when it goes to slide up, you burp the gas a little bit, get it to stay back down, and it gives the high side a lot of momentum to come around and keep the pass going. As we're watching right here, I'm watching the battle for second. The 54 and the 4 have been going at it, and the 44 actually, or the 5, the little tank, actually slowed the momentum of the 4 down, let the 54 get underneath the 4, let him get around, and now the 4 is having a hard time getting underneath little tank and completing this pass because the high side is so good here. It's one of those things that in the first 10 or 15 laps of fresh tires, the high side's the place to go. But as the run progresses, you're able to see the bottom work its way in, and that's when the tighter cars are able to make passes, and the high side becomes one of the loose, sketchy ice rings that they call it, and you just come off the corner and you slide, and it's going to make for great racing. It's also going to make for a lot of people losing track position like we saw at Bristol last week.
Absolutely. White Walker out there, buddy. Thank you very much for the follow. Absolutely appreciate it. Says, doesn't seem like a lot on track tonight, but loves coming out and listening to the broadcast. Man, I definitely appreciate that. Thank you very much for smashing that follow. Believe it or not, there's almost 20 cars out here, but they just finished their first green flag pit stop, which caused them to get completely spread out. Different speeds getting on a pit road, different pit stop times, different ways of getting out of pit road, different ways of getting up to speed. Meaning, if you're using the shifter on a wheel, or if you actually have a shifter to use, if you're just an automatic transmission, it's going to cost you time. So different ways that you could break up a pack getting on a pit road. But even when we go to a place like Daytona or Talladega, whether it's under normal racing or whether it's under the JPOS / chain graboid rules, whenever the pack comes in together, they still come out separately, Expert. But man, so far these guys have run caution-free. The next time Cinepuse comes across the start stripe, we'll go ahead and finish counting them down and see what we've got left here in stage 1. But so far, one hell of a race, very spread out, but everybody's still digging. 2 to go, Expert. Take us all the way.
And here we go, 2 to go. I believe we're heading to 1 to go this time by. Of course, if my math is going to serve me correct on that one.
Yep, 2 minus 1
right
equals
here,
1, I promise.
Well, I was just making sure. It happens all the time. You never know. But right here, the 15, he's going to be able to lead around here on the final lap, trying to put a few guys, of course, back 1 lap down, or try to get a little more guys trapped a lap down. But he's just been able to pull away on those 4 fresh, and he will be the winner here in stage number 1.
Absolutely. King Mather's going to go ahead and knock it out of the park. And I tell you what, that's no small feat. He's got the 4 and the 54. Both guys have won a race so far this year, so he knows those guys were fast. He had to do something, and it's hard to believe that 1 or maybe 2 lap fresher tires would allow him to go on up there, take the lead, and hold them back. Good job by them. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Head on over to NNRLeague.com. Take a look at those Zazzle tabs right quick. We will be right back in 30. I promise.
Hey NNR fans, are you looking for a way to rep your favorite NASCAR Heat preset league on Xbox Live? Look no further. Just go to NNRLeague.com, scroll down to the Zazzle tab, and see what we have to offer. From t-shirts to hoodies to clocks, we have everything you need to show your support. Thanks for being the best fans, and we hope to see you at the track repping that NNR red.
All right, I say it every week, and I mean it. Anytime we take one of those quick NNR commercial breaks to show you how to follow or take you to NNRLeague.com or whatever, you don't miss a thing. Vols, we are back, getting back under green, 15 hard on a throttle, 54 to the outside, 4 to PTH Goat. We got the 11, we got the 13 of Commando Grip. Here comes that driver of the 13. We're trying to work his way up through the field, all bunched back up, packed back up, racked and stacked back up. Let's go, stage 2, sir.
Yeah, lap 1 of stage 2 is complete. I think this stage is about 70 laps, if I'm not mistaken. The 4 was able to get a good run and a good launch with the 15. Huge momentum on the start. Whenever they got to the restart zone, the 15 was able to grab that gear. 54 looks like he's struggling up here on the high side. He's been passed on the bottom by the 15, the 4, and the 11, and he has Commando Grip, chomping at the bit. I mentioned a little bit earlier about being able to make adjustments on the stage brake. This was the chance that if people were loose on the high side and they wanted to gravitate to the bottom, this was their chance. It was their chance to make an opportunity work for themselves. The 54 got his bearings together. He made a pass back there for 3rd, entered him back into P number 3. He gets under the 11, and it's side by side for 6th on back.
Yeah, and man, I tell you what, we saw this in stage 1. In stage 1, the top 3 broke away. Right now, we're seeing everybody behind Commando Grip. They still got that hornet's nest that they got to try to figure out. I'm actually going to work my way back there right now to see exactly what they've all got to deal with. The 44 of Baritone Boss, he's up there for the 1 of Cole 315 getting shoved by iRace Clean. There's the 9 of Q-Dog. They are 2x2, 3 rows deep, all behind this 13 car. Are they going to try to settle it out, or are they going to try to get on up and move through the field? Man, just as I say that, they are all single file up on that high line. They've learned about that momentum, either from watching the race last night or just from what they've gone through so far. But Vols is 100% right, Expert. That was their biggest chance and their only chance so far, besides that very, very short amount of time on pit road during the green flag pit stops, to really make some big changes to their cars. They would have had enough time to do whatever they had to do with their tires, their wedge, do whatever they had to do with tape, if any changes, and get back out here and really get down for stage number 2 here in Iowa.
Yeah, and let me put on my Larry Mack cap real quick, if I do say so myself. When it comes to these guys making adjustments, you have to set up this car to be able to change with the racetrack. The difference is we saw between the Truck Series race and the Xfinity Series race, we're under the lights here for the Xfinity Series. We were in the daytime with the truck, now we're under the lights here. So it's going to be a lot looser for these guys, which means you're going to wear that right rear a little bit more. That high line's going to go away even quicker than it did previously. So for these guys, the concern, if you want to be short run, you got to focus on setting it up for the high side to carry it for as long as you can. If you're focusing on long run, like Spoiled Milk, one of the top guys from the Truck Series last night, you got to work on running that middle to bottom line, in which that's where you're going to save the most, like Vols mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'll see if you guys agree or disagree with this. All right, Cape's out there. He says if there's 4 tracks I'm ecstatic for not having in NASCAR anymore, it has to be Iowa, Kentucky, Chicagoland, and Auto Club. I don't know. After the action here at Iowa, the way you can go 3 and 4 and 5 wide safely, I forgot what it was like racing around Iowa. Auto Club, I love. It's like another Michigan, and I've been a fan of Michigan for many, many years. I'm not a big fan of Kentucky, but Chicagoland, that's another track that I absolutely really like as well. So, I don't know. Vols, what do you think about those 4?
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Kentucky myself. I think it's one of those racetracks that I think NASCAR could do without. If I was NASCAR, I mean, Iowa's a great track to race at. It doesn't make for very good racing on the actual track when you go and you watch a race or you watch it on television. To me, this track just kind of singles itself out. The high lane's really the only place they want to race. You can kind of get the middle working, but the game is a lot different than what it's going to produce in real life. Auto Club, to me, I think we need to get away from the bigger tracks and start getting back to our grassroots. I want to see the Nashville Fairgrounds from a fellow Tennessean. I think the Nashville Superspeedway and the Fairgrounds is a good way of putting stuff back in the driver's hands and letting them get back to the old short track, getting the fans back involved, and letting these younger kids come see it at their local fairgrounds and see the top drivers in motorsports. But I don't know. I think that Iowa is one of the things trucks should go to. I think we should keep something staked in Iowa. This is a wonderful track, and it's going to be interesting to see what NASCAR does moving forward with this racetrack. Because I mean, I think who is it that owns this track?
IMS, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but yeah, it's a shame for this track to fall by the wayside. Hopefully, maybe 704 or Motorsport Games or Codemasters or whoever is doing the next game. We hear through the rumor mill so much and so many different changes going on behind the scenes with this version that we've all kind of come to. We like the racing. Not a big fan of what we were promised and it not being there. That's another soapbox. But man, I like the racing. They changed and corrected the physics that were horribly wrong on Heat 3. This is basically just a copy of Heat 4 with a couple of added tracks, some new paint schemes. That's pretty much it. We can't stand the servers. Again, different soapbox. But, man, I say that as we get closer and closer to the 10 o'clock hour, of course. But, man, I would actually hate to see this track fall by the wayside. Hopefully they'll keep it as maybe a DLC or something like that. I forgot how much fun this track can be as we're watching the 10 of Old Tweeter and the 1 of Colt 315 really battling it out side by side. 40 laps remaining here in stage number 2, Expert.
Yeah, and y'all are talking about those 4 tracks, kind of brings a tear to my eye because those 4 tracks have been really good friends of mine throughout my league racing career. So to see them kind of go away is not going to be too kind to me in the long run. But definitely this track has shown great racing over the years, both in real life and of course in league racing. And then looking at tracks like Kentucky, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed racing with the guys in Shadow Racing League and Turned Down for What there. in my time that I was able to race there, and there's a few starts. I also enjoy Auto Club, one of the premier tracks in which you can go 5-6 wide and have a lot of fun there. So, tracks like that, even Chicagoland, for being a draft track like it is, it's really fun as well. So it's really sad for me to see them go, but you got to trust what NASCAR is doing. Can't wait to see Nashville come back, and can't wait to see a lot of different tracks get their first start. Looking at Knoxville being a great track as well. So can't wait to see what's going to happen moving forward, but definitely excited for the future. And to answer that question, Iowa was bought by NASCAR in 2013.
Well, Cape just said that ISC owns Iowa, so I don't know. But man, it's a shame either way you cut it with this track taking off. I like Chicagoland. I like driving it on the game. Like driving it on iRacing. I like Auto Club on the game and on iRacing. I haven't raced this place on iRacing as of yet. Big thank you to both you, Expert, and NNR Monster. I'll figure out who you are eventually, I promise, for the 15 bits each. But, man, Pauls, we're talking about iRacing, talking about a couple different tracks and what's going on, what's changing, and all that. How about this NNR iRacing series? Right now, still going through our 6-week test session. Then we've got another longer session of about 11 weeks. And, buddy, that is going to take it right up to time to where you're leaving Korea, coming on back to the good old US of A. You're going to have your tower waiting for you. You're going to have your monitor waiting for you. You're going to be working on, getting your tools in place, getting iRacing, building up your tracks, building up your vehicles, doing all that, getting ready to call the first official NNR iRacing full series in June. I can't wait for it, buddy. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, it's a lot of learning, and I keep saying, I keep watching Atlanta, I keep watching Rick, I'm watching, I've actually started following Rinse the Fence. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend going to look him up on Twitch. He races very late at night for our late night stayers that like to stay up and sit there and do nothing. Go watch what he's doing. He races on there. He's giving me a lot of tips, a lot of feedback of what the tracks do. He's been one of my go-to guys that I'm talking to about how to set stuff up, how to get things going. I'm excited for the future of what NNR is going to do. I hope that the racing gets, a lot bigger. We've seen the difference between people not liking NASCAR heat, people committing to the season, people not going all the way through. I hope that the 36 truckers that come out and race stay there for 22 weeks in a row, and then eventually we'll progress to another series. And as we do that, my channel is going to grow. I'm not happy that my channel got botted. And I'm in the process of talking to Twitch, and I hope that they fix that. If not, I'll go on there and start deleting people myself. But we want to build a great series, a great league. I'm happy that they picked me to do it. I hope that I get to continue to do it. It's going to be interesting. I talked to Rick last night, and he committed to 100% on board, and we're going to do 100% of these races together. And I'm excited. I'm going to bring my wife. My wife's actually going to join this, so she's getting into this. She's watching, she's learning, she's picking up the different algorithms that come with the racing terminology. But it's going to be a step forward and a step in the right direction for what NNR League is going to do. The iRacing development is amazing, and the All-Star race, I'm telling you, you might want to stick on board. And with the partners that I have in iRacing, I just got Rogue Energy. They came on board. We're going to be doing a lot of giveaways this season, and you guys are going to want to go follow my channel at least, and tune in, because who knows, we might be giving away some awesome Rogue Energy products, and we might even be giving away some more than a cake stuff as well throughout the season. So if I was you, you're not going to want to miss this.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we were talking earlier about your channel and how somehow you, it's just very, very wrong what happened. For anybody that don't know, if you haven't seen it on Twitter, haven't seen it on Facebook, whatever, Vols' channel kind of got infected by bots. I mean, I can't think of any other word to say. Yesterday or 2 days ago, he was sitting at about 180 followers, 178 followers. And then it went up by 500 followers, just like that. I was joking around with him, oh, you just bought followers or whatever, and I thought that there was more to it because he had talked about sharing his channel information with, I believe you said, your brother-in-law's son or something like that, and he put it on his TikTok. Well, I'm thinking, okay, man, that kid's got 5,000 followers on TikTok. People are helping you out. Good thing. He shared the information about More Than a Cape and how you plan to donate whatever you earn through your Twitch channel to Cape's purpose, and it just took off from there. And then that 800 or that 678 followers went up to 1.2. Then it was 2.1. I think at last count it was like 3.2. It's just flat ridiculous. So that's what he's talking about working with Twitch to kind of clear up his channel as soon as possible, get it back to just the righteous followers and the righteous subscribers, and then get the integrity in his channel right back to where it needs to be. If that doesn't happen and he's got to repurpose or recreate another channel, I hope everybody out there will go on over, smash the follow, smash the subscribe. He's going to have a lot to catch up on. Right now, being over in Korea, he can't stream. We tried that last Sunday last Saturday with Turn Down for What, and it was just completely broken. So we know what he's been capable of when he's been able to stream from the States before being deployed. I hope all of y'all out there will go on back through, give the man a big old follow, subscribe. I know Expert will. I know I will. I hope that almost the 700 followers that I've got will go on over as well. There's a lot of big plans in the works. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all out there. Another thing looking forward to, Expert, we've got 22 laps remaining here in stage number 2. We've been talking about a whole lot going on. Not a whole lot going on track. The 4 of PTH the GOAT has assumed the lead over the 15 of King Mathers, but they are very spread out all around this track.
And we were talking about the pit strategy earlier. Now it's coming to fruition, in which the 4 now leading over the 54 of KFB and the 15 of King Mathers. The gap between these guys is a pretty decent sized gap, and the question now is can PTH the GOAT be able to stay consistent and hold off these guys? The 54 is really not catching him. I think he's losing more time than he's gaining, and this 15, it looks like he's running very similar lap times to what GOAT is running right now, not really gaining but not losing as well. So right now it just looks like that PTH the GOAT just needs to stay in the throttle, keep being consistent, and he might be our stage 2 winner.
Yeah, I mean, if he can hold off the Twix Twix Toyota from taking over that spot, the 15, he's been kind of relegated back to P3. He took stage 1 off of some great tire strategy. He pitted a lap or 2 later, and it ended up working out for him in the end, only because he didn't lose a whole lot of time, was able to pick right back up on the tail ends of the top 2, pull his way on in, and yeah, he got max points stage 1. About 20 laps now to stage number 2. PTH the GOAT looks like he is in full command. That Twix Toyota seems like he might have got a little extra caramel on those tires, not really rolling as fast as he could. We're just not able to keep up with this Camaro. Balls very spread out, cars everywhere on this very short Iowa racetrack. You gonna switch over to King Mathers, or what are you thinking there, buddy?
No, I'm going to stay with 4. I'm going to be very consistent with my pick. I think the 4 has what it takes to win this race. We've seen flashes of speed between the 54 and the 15, but I just think that the 4 has what he needs to win this race tonight. it's going to be interesting to see as Stage 2 ends what they're going to be able to do at the end of that. I'm looking at their onboards. I'm watching the 15 catch the 54. He has one lap fresher tires, and yeah, he won Stage 1, but the 15 also had fresher tires than the 4 and the 54. He was able to drive away with it. But one last thing on the bot thing, I'm going to give your fans a chance to put in what the name of the channel should be should I create a new one. So if you're in the chat and you're reading and you're hearing what I'm saying, drop a name, drop whatever name you think it should be, and we'll pick the winner.
All right, we can roll with that. Well, Expert just dropped Redneck Junebug. I don't know about that. Redneck Junebug Racing. I don't know. With today's cancel culture, you might get canceled even before you take to the track.
That was my gamer tag a long time ago, and then it got flagged for racism. And we do not support racism on my channel, nor do we support any type of inequality. We support all equal races, genders, whatever. Everybody's welcome to my channel, no matter who you are or what color you are. So no, I will stay away from anything that could be deemed as wrong.
There you go. All right, so looks like the 15 of King Mathers is able to get on by the 54, rolling on and continuing to go through the field right now. Looking at the 13 of Commando Grip, he sees that 54 Twix. I keep wanting to say Camry, but it's what is it in the Xfinity series? It's the Toyota Supra. There we go.
Supra.
Yep, I'd get it right one of these days. So yeah, that Supra. Right now you got a Supra in third and in fourth. You got two Chevys leading the way right now, and it's a big gap back to P number 5. I want to say that P5 car is going to be. I saw all the yellow on the hood. Yep, there it is. It's the 8-car Combat Beast. Combat was supposed to have another onboard for us to kind of help us out, but it looks like he was having some issues with his Twitch channel, so we've just been kind of keeping up with Cinefuse for laps and anything that's happened on track. But Expert, nothing's been going on track. It has just been flat racing all the way around, except for the times where they're really spread out. It's been very, very good when we've had those moments of 2, 3, 4, and at 1.5 wide tonight.
Definitely, and just looking at how these guys have been able to spread out, it just shows how important we talked about earlier consistency is. We've had guys be able to stick around each other in battles and all of that. Even our onboards, both of them are together right now, so that just shows how much this track can really change. We've seen it as far as the day to night time, how the racing has been able to change when it comes to the different setups with these cars. The Xfinity cars run a lot different than the trucks, but of course they still have their similarities, but they run a lot different. And this track is just showing the differences here, but still a entertaining race all the way around, and it's going to be even more entertaining down the stretch as the 15 has a chance to possibly go up there and catch that 4.
Yep, I was actually just working my way back on through the field. There was I forget who it was right now for that was following the 44 Baritone Boss. Unfortunately, it looks like Baritone has had an early exit from tonight's race. Very, very unfortunate for him. But yeah, it's the 15 and the 4. So I'm going to guess that the 15 might have a little bit more of a long run car than the 4. 4 saw some daylight and decided to go full bore on the tires. But with only 5 laps to go, I don't think the 15 can get there unless he's got a little bit of magic left in the back end of this Camaro. We'll have to see. Coming across the line that time, and that was with Cinepue. So he's sitting in P number 6. There's only enough laps to count on one hand. Man, it's getting less and less, but so is the distance between the 15 and the 4. He's just not going to have enough time, Balls.
Yeah, we talked about the separation of the guys up front, but I tell you, 2 cars that haven't separated from one another, and that's the 18 and the 1. Those 2 have been racing like cats and dogs at one another. They've had a great battle back here. I think for P5, it's been one heck of a battle with the pole sitter and a guy who kind of he had to fall away from NASCAR heat. He moved. He had some internet issues and he stopped racing for a while, but he's getting back in the swing of things and he's racing here in NNR. He's doing a fantastic job. But yeah, I'm riding on board with PTH to go. I'm going to keep reiterating my pick to win this race. And if you drop the bits in the chat on what car number you think is going to win tonight, I'm going to go drop 4 for old PTH to go. But that 15 is getting there. I believe it's 3 laps to go when he crosses this line. The 15's been able to kind of chunk into that lead just a little bit, but he's not making up huge chunks of ground. He might be making up maybe a tenth a lap. Not a whole lot to make a difference on the screen. The 4 just lapped the 98, a master killer. And if that stays the same, I think the 98 should be the free pass right here to put him back on the lead lap. But this has been interesting to see the evolving beginning of this race where you see the 4 is able to step away from the 15, and that's about the only separation that we have.
Absolutely. 4 car came across the line. He's going to go ahead and grab max points for stage 2. So King Mathers, who came in second right there, he grabbed stage 1. PTH the GOAT, he was able to go ahead and grab stage 2, and I think that was in the right amount of time for Master Killer in that 98. Looks like he was getting awfully loose coming off the corners right there. Guys and gals, we're going to take one more commercial break. Some new people out there hanging out right now. If you want to know how to follow NNR, here we go. We'll be right back in 30. One more time, I promise you.
Hey NNR fans, don't miss any of the action by following or subscribing to Repeat's Twitch channel. Turn on notifications and you'll always know when the best preset league on Xbox hits the track. Check out his YouTube channel too to see all of NNR's past races. Follow No Name Racing as well as Repeat 1975 and others on Twitter, and you'll never miss any of the action.
All right, gentlemen, racked and stacked one more time for stage 3, the final stage. Once Cinepuse comes across the start stripe, we'll see exactly what we've got here as far as distance goes. Green, 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 expert, going into 1.
And here we go. The 4 is going to try to hold that bottom line, but the 15's got that high side rolling. 15 should get a run here. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. 15 going to throw it into 3 and 4 on that high side. Try to get a run off exit. All the help is on that bottom line, and that's going to allow the 4 to be able to clear this 15, but the 15 holding strong on the outside of the 54. Right now, 4 rounding the bottom, hitting the apex, and being able to save what he can right there on the bottom, but that 15 trying to find a way to get up there in P number 2.
Yeah, 54 down low, getting underneath King Mathers. Here comes the 13 of Commando Griff. Then behind them, you see that 8 car of old Combat Beast. We'll have to see what he's going to be able to do. There's the 11 as well. Already top 3, top 4, top 5. Well, at least top 4 are all single file. Behind them, 3 wide, coming off of turns 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, heading into 3. It's going to be all the 4 car at the front. I don't think this is what they wanted to see. They wanted to be able to keep this relatively close. But once that clean air is all over the front end of that Chevy, it's been all over for the rest of the field. We'll have to see if they get spread out like they did before or if they're able to catch back up. Balls, you son of a, thank you very much for the gifted subs, as well as the bits out there. Bits from Balls, bits from NNR Monster, bits from... Man, I saw him from Expert. I saw him from where else was there out here? Not White Walker. Yeah, I mean I've seen all kinds of bits. Don't want to go through too far in the chat, but definitely appreciate all of you, 110%. Balls, this 54 Twix machine, even though it's a little early, he's showing a little bit more aggression here in the start of the stage. Do you think he just doesn't want that 4 car to walk away like he did before, or do you think he made some changes in that chat? I'm sorry, in that,
I think a little bit of both.
In that stage break. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I was walking along with it. I knew what you meant. I think he just wanted to get separation between himself and the 15. It's crucial on these restarts to get as many spots as possible. We see the 15 being a little bit more aggressive as well. He kind of dove it in there just a little bit under the 54, and he actually took the lead, but I believe a caution is out.
Yeah, they woed way up. So this is going to be a manual caution for the first time. Actually, the only caution so far. So everybody's going to have a chance to go on down pit road and make some changes. Expert, they just came off pit road to start stage 3. Do you think they go on down, or do you stay out?
Well, let me put my Larry Mack cap back on. This is the second time I done put it on
You're
tonight.
only 20 years old. You haven't even, you cannot wear a Larry Mack hat yet.
I can buy a bald cap if you want me to. I can fit the role. It's okay.
Oh,
but
boy.
if I'm the crew chief for one of these guys sitting on top of that box right here, knowing what I've seen in the past when it comes to how tires are at this racetrack, I'm coming in, I'm getting 4 fresh. It is too important. You're just at the start of the stage. Track position, you can make up, especially with 4 fresh tires. If guys are staying out, there is no doubt I'm coming in, especially if I'm the leader right here. I'm coming in, no question.
Balls, it looked like the 54 might have thought about staying out. Then when he saw the 4 committed, the 15 was going to be committed to 13, everybody was coming on down pit road. He thought better of it and decided he was going to come on down also. Guys and gals, we're going to try to help out anybody that would come into the stream within the next couple minutes or so. We're going to run a quick 30-second ad break, and then we'll be right back. To anybody that is still out there, absolutely continue to appreciate all of your support. You are the only one seeing this right now. Everybody else is taking an ASUS ad break or some other kind of an ad break. Thank you for your continued support. I definitely appreciate these guys sitting in here with me as well, appreciating the race. Hope you are as well. Big thanks. All right, like I said, we were going to be back in 30. Balls fan out there saying if you're new to Repeat's channel to NNR, go smash that follow button and share the stream to show support for the best in broadcasting. Well, I don't know about the best, but I absolutely have fun with what I'm doing. And sometimes they say if you enjoy the work you're doing, you enjoy working in general. And while this isn't like actual work, this is all fun for me. I absolutely have a good time doing it, especially when I get to broadcast these races with a lot of really good guys. Man, what a seeing HD Motorsports pop into the chat earlier. Every time I see him, it kind of takes me back just a little bit. And he's the one that actually allowed me to get my start. Him and Dirty Deeds were broadcasting for what was D4C, which later became NNR after it had to be rebranded. And yeah, Dirty Deeds stepped aside, went and did his own thing. Every now and then he pops into the channel. But yeah, HD Motorsports gave me my break. And once HD's capture card took a dump, I went and got one. When I bought the capture card, my tower didn't support it. My wife surprised me with a brand new tower, and I've been up and running ever since with all the different graphics and the scrolls and all that. But before that, no, it was just straight off Xbox, and I wouldn't change a thing. Everybody learns how to do it a different way, and when you work hard for what you have, you appreciate it just a little bit more. So, man, I absolutely appreciate the opportunity to be able to do all this with NNR and Turn Down for What and Shadow Racing and everybody else, American Ethanol, ENEA, and FNL. I mean, so many different places have allowed me to broadcast at least one of their races. It's been a lot of fun over the last 2.5 years or so, and I ain't going anywhere. This is my home. Balls. 54, he's now got the lead. 4 car to the outside, 15 to King Mathers, 13 to Commando Griff, and the 11 car. That's going to be our top 5. They're addressing the line, buddy. Take us back, Green.
Yeah, 54 got a launch right there. Got a shot from the 15 as they came to the restart zone. the 4's been working that high line on this initial start. He's able to get the run off the corner. He's going to clear the 15 right here. 15's going to slide into P3, and now the 4's got his sight set on the 54. But here comes the 11. We've seen him kind of stay progressively near the top 4, top 5 here. We haven't really seen him go into the top 3 and mix it up with the top 3 cars right now. But as the race has progressed, he's been right there. Could we see a surprise winner like we did last night in the 00? Boss came out of nowhere to win that race. Can we see the similar pattern happen tonight? Can the 11, can the 13 or the 8 or the 18, can they slide in here as contacts made between the 13 and the 11? 13 goes in the grass, comes back up the track, and they're 3 wide here going into 1.
Yep, 3 wide going to 1, 13, 8, and the 11 of Cinepuse. You got the 10 down low. So, but yeah, I tell you what, the 11 of Cinepuse, he is absolutely capable of getting it done. I don't know if you kind of kept up with Rock NASCAR's Facebook page for all the Heat 5 leagues and everything that's been going on there. I've seen Cinepuse in victory lane more in the last week than I remember before that. He has been doing a phenomenal job. He's been having a lot of speed in a few different leagues, few different series. The more seat time you get, the better you get, because you learn the tracks, you learn the presets, you learn more and more what you can do with the adjustments and how each will affect not only the tire pressure, but also the tape and the wedge, which are the only things these are allowed to change. So yeah, he's gotten better and better, and he's been an in-race reporter for me a few times, and he does very well at that. Also, right now sitting about P6, fighting it out with the 8 of Combat, but I think Combat's going to have that outside edge.
Right here, looking up top at the leaders, though, back here at the 13 of Commando Griff is starting to he's starting to get up here and try to run with these guys. He's moved his way into the 4th position and is now looking to try to make a move around the 15. So this 13 may have been saving an ace up the sleeve to see if he can come up here and try to compete with the top 3 that's been up here all race.
Balls, we've seen this 13 get wrecked up, finds himself in a bad situation. Either they wreck right in front of him and he's got nowhere to go, or whatever, get pushed up into the outside wall, get loose, spin on the inside wall. But right now, he absolutely looks very, very strong. You got the 54 of KFB 18 in the lead, the 4 car of the GOAT, the 15 of King Mathers, and then the 13. Behind all these guys, it's going to be the 11 of Cinepuse. We were just talking about him. He's trying to track back down this top 4. I think he can do it, but oh, by the way, Combat Beast, he's no slouch either. He can pull himself back up. When that happens, do they pull the rest of the field, or do you think they get even more spread out?
I think as the run progresses, like we talked about earlier, that you don't see very many cautions here. It's very rare that we do see a manual caution get thrown, or that the game caution get thrown unless it's a stage break. But there's no more stage breaks. Now it's go time. We haven't seen many people be able to make a challenge and make a run at this top 3, and I don't think it's going to be any different. I think as the run goes on, when the tires start to wear, the fuel starts to burn, these guys are going to find a way to pull away. And I would say that we had a bet last week of how many cars are going to finish on the lead lap. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go on a limb and say we're only going to have about 8 or 9 that end up finishing on the lead lap as it is.
I don't know. I mean, even though they're both short tracks, there's still a big difference between Bristol and here at Iowa. I don't see that many cars going a lap down. I mean, hey, you could absolutely be right. As Cinepuse comes across the start stripe, there's still 104 laps left here in stage number 1. So is it possible? Sure. As you said, NNR is very well known for a whole lot of green flag racing. The trucks, we didn't see a caution until very, very late in the race last night. We just saw one non-stage caution here a little bit ago, and that wasn't even game. That was manual, called by JPA, which means somewhere on track 2 or more cars would have had to have spun, not only spun because they were fishtailing together off a turn or something like that, but completely spun out. So they've got certain criteria in place that would call for a manual caution to be called. It was what it was, but man, these guys in this back half of the field, they're really getting after it. Everybody's sitting behind the 18 of iRace Clean, which is only about 3 cars right now. They're 3 wide. They want to get up there and get the 18 a little bit of a draft, however little there might be. But man, every position matters. We've only got 3 races after this before we get into the playoffs.
And you mentioned the races before the playoffs. You're looking at tracks like, I was actually just looking at it. You're looking at tracks like Dover, Texas, and Darlington. We know how crazy all 3 of those tracks can be. So if you're on that cut line, performing well, especially at a track like this, in which a lot of guys that you see with great speed at tracks like Texas and Darlington, this is where you have to be able to make up those points. This is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of guys, such as, guys like Combat Beast. Q-Dogs is trying to still hold on to that points lead. Looking at guys like Commando Griff sitting in 4th right now. iRace Clean, a bunch of guys who can possibly try to climb up there and try to see if they can add to their points and possibly a playoff run.
You know what, Balls, I was wrong. I said it was the 11 in P number 5. It's actually old Tweeter. Tweeter, we really haven't talked all that much about. But yeah, he's gained a little bit of distance back to the 11 of Cinepuse and the 8 of Combat Beast. He's kind of got about the same amount of distance to the front pack as he does the pack that's right behind him. Do you think he's? I think you said that you've raced with Tweeter in the past or something like that. Do you think he's got the long run car to be able to get back up there, or do you think he's really got to rely on a caution?
I mean, I think he's just biding his time. He might have the long run speed to get up there. Like I told you, I think we're going to have some comers and goers. The 13 was able to make a couple adjustments. He's sitting there in P4. The 10 of Tweeter sitting in P number 5. We haven't talked about neither one of those guys this whole race, and here they are sitting in the top 5 with under 100 laps to go. They've been able to stay with the leaders. They have them in their sights, and now we have a 3-way fight for the lead. These guys are going at it. The 4's finally going to get under the 54, and the 15's trying to find some daylight right here to get underneath these guys and to try to make this pass and separate themselves. This race is going to come down to one of these 3 guys. It's either going to come out to them taking one another out, a bump and run, or it's going to come to strategy. And if we stay green, the tires wear way before the fuel does. So this could be one of those things where these guys go in, they take as little amount of fuel as possible, and they're able to short stop this race and get to the end. This is 3 wide for the lead. Contact's made here. They're still 3 wide. 54 is going to think twice about this. 15 is going to go to the lead and lead that lap.
I don't know, but I tell you what, the more that they race, hard like this for the lead, that's going to bring the 13 just a little bit closer. Yeah, he's actually fully there now. He was before, but they were all lined up. He really couldn't pull out and make any kind of a pass. But it's also going to bring Tweeter into the mix. 15's now got the lead, 54 P2. You got the 4 car to his outside, 13 sitting in P number 4. I don't think these guys are done. You were just calling a 3 wide across the start stripe right there. If that was the last lap, if that was a drag race, we would have been talking to the 15 as the winner tonight. And it would have, or hell, it could have been a photo finish. Who knows? But man, these guys still completely duking it out. And Expert, I think it's just because of the gap that they've got back to the rest of the field. Now they feel like they might be able to mix it up a little bit, but they better be careful. They don't want to tangle too much. Caution comes out, they're going to bring everybody right back together again.
And the big thing to look at with these guys is that Mathers has been a guy that he knows that or you know that he'll race guys and he'll give it basically the Ryan Newman. He will race everybody as hard as he possibly can. He does not give breaks. And, he doesn't expect them either. He races for every single position, races every lap like it's his last. But he does it with a smart veteran intelligence. He's been doing this for a while. When you look at guys like KFB, he's more on the young side as far as his league racing career. He's coming in here, making his first few starts in NNR, and he's been known to be very aggressive as well. It's also been known to kind of bite him in the butt at some times, but he's up here in the lead competing with King Mathers, and he really has a real shot to win this race. He's matching the aggression level. He's also been conservative when he needs to be. It's just impressive to see all the growth he's been able to do in just the past few weeks, and how he's been able to use it here tonight, racing against a lot of top talent up front.
Absolutely. Protop out there saying Commando Griff is really putting in the work tonight. Yeah, he is, and he's worked his way through the field. Commando Griff, I think I want to say he qualified inside the top 8, if I'm not mistaken. So he had to work his way through. They've been stacked up a few times, one caution, but right now he's sitting P4, and with under 100 laps, I'm seeing Cinepu's on pit road right now, so I have a feeling we're going to start to see all of our major players come on down. Balls, do you think it would be wise of first to try to come on down and maybe snooker second, third, or fourth to try to get those 4 Eagle Feel Goods and get a little bit of a gap back to second, third, and so on? Or are you, if you're the 13 of Commando Grip, do you say, you know what, these guys aren't pitting right now, I'm going to go and maybe try to get up in front of them? Obviously, he's got the speed to compete.
If I'm the 10 and I'm the 13 right now, I'm pitting. I'm pitting before I see these guys. They're up here racing. They're side by side. They're burning their tires up. If I'm 4th and 5th and even 6th, I see the 8 of Combat Beast making some headway up to the front as well. If I'm them, I'm pitting. I'm pitting at least a lap or 2 before they are. If the 13 pits a lap before these guys does, he's going to take this lead. He might be able to pull away with it. It looks like the 15 looked like he was signaling he was coming down. He's going to come down pit road right now, so then that's going to give him an advantage. But how much of an advantage is it going to give you when you do come down and take it just a little bit earlier? He's losing a lot of track position. The 8's coming down pit road as well, but now it's up. Is that going to lure the 54, the 4, and 13 down pit road, or are they just going to stay out here and battle and burn their tires up? As they're all coming down at 1. Everybody got goaded in by the 15.
I tell you what, Expert, if you were just watching the 15 as he was coming down pit road, they say when you're qualifying, you want to keep the car as low as possible because it's the shortest way around the track. Well, he was way up, just about scraping that inside wall, carrying as much speed as he could, and then blowing it up before he hit that commitment cone. That is, King Mathers must feel so challenged by the 13, the 4, and the 54 that he was trying to cut as much time as possible, not only off of his lap time, bringing it into the pits, but getting into the pits, jamming on those gears to come on out. We'll have to see just where this 15 cycles through, and it looks like the 8 of Combat Beast, he was able to make up some headway on the 15 as well as they come across. There you see the 4 and the and I think that's going to be, it's either going to be Tweeter or I'm not quite sure who this is in front, but yeah, that's actually going to be the 13 of Commando Griff. So Griff just gained a bunch of time on the 15, on the 4, on the 54 and others. I say he's going to go up top. He's going to keep that car wound up on these freshies, try to take that top spot, and let them try to work past him.
Well, right now they all have to work together because actually, to put this out there, the 54 had one heck of a pit stop in entry. Actually, he is almost the whole front straightaway ahead of these guys. I mean, it is insane the gap he was able to pull off of pit road right there. I don't know if he had a great stop or what happened, but he gained a lot of ground compared to his peers behind him. And the big thing that you talked about is Mathers as far as getting close to the inside wall. The unfortunate thing about that is Mathers had to be a lot slower on entry than the 54 and the 4 and the 13 guys who were just throwing it into that bottom part of 3 and 4 without any regard. Mathers took a slower approach on getting down there, and that's what's cost him so much time on these short pits, is how conservative he has been on pit entry compared to these young guns who are just throwing it in down there.
I don't know, Balls. I don't see a quarter of this track being able to be gained by time that you can make up on your entrance and your exit to pit road. I would have to think, do you think he just took 2? Maybe banking on a caution coming out or something like that, knowing that more and more people are going to be making their way down pit road? Or do you think he actually got that great of a stop?
I don't think he got that amazing of a stop, especially with the fact that all the guys who pitted with him all came out in a group. I mean, the 8, the 10, the 13, the 4, all of these guys came out with Mathers on the exact same area of the track. That looks like a 2-tire stop to me. And, I mean, if he did take 2 tires, I don't know how well that's going to pay off and how much did he practice if he did. They're not catching him. They're battling side by side here. The 4 and the 15 are side by side here down the back straightaway going into turn 3. If he did take 2, he would need to at least keep enough track position for 20 laps. He would need 20 laps of just pure hard racing, and he would have had to tighten the car up just a little bit. So,
yeah, you're 100% right. He would have had to have spent a lot of laps here during the week getting prepared for this race and testing out that exact situation. Was he able to maintain enough of his left side tires to really keep up with some speed? Unfortunately, I don't. With Cinepuse right now sitting in P number 6, I'm actually going to go ahead and check on Combat Beast's stream again, see if it actually cleared up. Yes, it did. So right now, Combat Beast is sitting in P number 5. He's got the 15, he's got the 4, and he's got the 13, the Commando grip right in front of him. As he came across the line, 74 laps to go. He tagged the wall just a little bit. That kind of slowed him up, cost a little bit of momentum. But first place, he's gone. And for him to do that in a matter of just coming down pit road, that's a big gap to come down pit road. The other guys really would have had to have had an extremely long stop or something happen.
This is what I was talking about earlier, though, is that there's no way he's took 2 tires. We're on lap 178 coming to 179 at 250. There is no absolute way that this was a 2-tire stop. He's not losing time to the guys behind him. In fact, it looks like he's gaining more time than he's losing. So I don't know. I still think it was the entry to pit road. If you saw the difference between how Mathers and the rest of the guys entered compared to how aggressive KFB was on throwing it through that bottom section and getting woed up for pit road, it was completely different than everybody else around him. So in my opinion, not only it could have been combined with the pit stop that he had, but I think that entry into pit road was set up the entire thing for him to not only have a good pit stop, but be able to separate himself, get out into clean air, and say adios to the guys behind him.
Well, Balls, one thing for sure, if that 54 Twix Toyota makes it to the top 3, which right now I don't see anybody taking it from him, we'll just have to ask him what he did to be able to keep that kind of a lead. I don't personally think I've ever seen anybody gain that much time going down pit road. Yeah, King Mathers, he was fast, he was loosey-goosey, trying to keep up max amount of speed. In fact, even sliding a little bit to really get in as fast as he possibly could. And the only other thing I can think of is, did the 54 come off of pit road in a different way or in a different part of the apron than everybody else? If he carried a little bit more speed on track versus on the apron, that's one thing. But everybody coming across the apron is going to have the same amount of grip on on fully worn run tires, I don't see it. I don't know how he could have possibly done that. We'll have to keep an eye. Right now Combat Beast is showing about 19 laps left in the tank. Balls, we might just have to see what he does, or what the 54 does when it comes to the next round of green flag pit stops, and if he's able to extend on that lead if they don't catch him.
Yeah, I think the 54 here, he's just kind of, we saw the 4 get by the 15, and now they're starting to close into that gap. The 13's made his way up there as well. I think the 13's or the 15's burned his stuff up just a tad bit. He was fighting pretty hard to stay on that high side to keep these guys behind him. But now the 54, I'm riding along board with him. He looks like he's having to back the corners up just a tad bit more than he was on the initial start. So this is going to be interesting to see what the 4 is going to be able to do. And can the 54 keep his track position if he did take 2 tires right there compared to the 4 and the 13?
Well, Cape, there you go. Looking out, you want to know what's the gap to the leader. There it is. I mean, there's your leader. Looking back from him, you barely see the next 3 cars when they're coming off of turn number 2, just as he's about ready to turn into turn 3. So he's got a big old gap back to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Again, second through 4th right now is PTH the GOAT, King Mathers, and the 13, a Commando Griff.
And guys, even though I didn't predict him to win at the end of stage 2, I went with Mathers because, of course, how can you bet against that guy? He's always been the guy that's been there at the end and has really not shown his full hand until the end. We don't know if we've seen his full hand yet, but, we're coming down to the end of this race. I mentioned before, the 54 is going to be somebody to definitely look at because this track favors his type of driving style. And, of course, that's being proven here today. The aggressiveness on pit road, the aggressiveness on track has, allowed him to be able to build up this lead. And like Terry was mentioning, it's going to be interesting to see what the 4 can do to try to capitalize and see if he can get that time back. But I'm about as shocked as y'all on how good of a pit cycle that was for him. But, I don't think it's too far-fetched out of all the time that I've been league racing or watching races and such. This is not too far-fetched at all. And with the fresher tires on that 54, I think that this next pit cycle could definitely show us his success on pit road and how well it's been able to help him out.
I'll tell you another big blow to the community. The 44, he lagged out. I think I saw the 78 of Unforgotten Shadow. He's sitting on pit road as well. But Q-Dog, your current series points leader, he just said he lagged out as well, and his rough stretch continues. I tell you, I was actually looking at the NNR Xfinity Series points earlier. 1st through 3rd, where it used to be just 1st and 2nd, were within 100 points of each other. Now it's actually 1st through 3rd. So yeah, Q-Dog has been, losing some points. He's still got a little bit to play with, but 9 races left after tonight. 3 races left in the regular season. Dover is next week. I believe the last time we went there, Q-Dog actually ran very, very well. So we'll have to see if he's able to bounce back. But Q, good luck, buddy.
And right now the pit cycle has started. King Mathers leads a bunch of cars. I believe that's Tweeter. I also believe other cars have also followed him down. The 98, a Master Killer, has came down as well with the initial group to start this round of green flag pit stops. However, the 54 and 4 have managed to stay out. The 54 going through lap traffic, putting a few guys a lap down, and they have not yielded to go down pit road yet. So obviously the confidence is big with these top 2 right now as they continue to run through the pit cycle. I think if I'm that 54, I'm going to run it until I can't run it anymore, until that 15 catches me.
Well, looking on board with both the 11 of Cinepuse as well as the 8 of Combat Beast, neither one of those guys have had their fuel light come on just yet. In fact, as the 8 comes across the line, I think we're going to see just about 56 laps to go. So we're going to keep an eye on this 54, see if he comes on down pit road the same way that I saw the 15 of King Mathers, which was all the way on the apron. He actually was underneath the countdown stripes on the apron, or if he comes off straight off track. That would that's about the only way I can see that he would have gained that much of an advantage. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
The one thing, and I'll tell you this, Pete, and to our viewers as well, as Mathers is going to catch up to the 54 here to try to unlap himself. If the one thing to pay attention to the 54, he doesn't enter off the track off of turn 4. How he enters pit road, Mathers backs it up heading into 3, backs off the throttle, gets as close to that inside wall. To notice what the 54 does, he throws it in a lot more throttle, almost near full speed into turn 3, and then locks it up, gets back into the throttle until he has to slow down for pit road. So that's the difference right there, in my opinion. That's something to look out for. As you see now, the 4 that was the second place car and should be now third once we cycle it out, as Mathers is getting around him. That should be for position. We're just taking a look right here at the leader, and he's now being able to put that 4-1 lap down.
Balls, the 54, he's still out there. He has not come down pit road yet, while you've seen many other cars come out of pit road, get back on track, get on by the 54. Do you think he's just hoping for a caution to keep some of these guys, or at least some of his main competition, a lap down? Or is he just really trying to stretch it, maybe try to save a little bit of fuel? Or save a little bit of, save a little bit of fuel. Maybe, I haven't even thought about the math to go on just stopping this time and not having to stop again. They can get 52 laps in a tank.
Well, yeah, he's coming down pit road now. It's smart. Once he got passed by the 4 and the 15 right there, it was crucial. It was crucial for him to come in, and he did exactly what King Mathers did coming on pit road. He was very up against the wall, looked a little slow coming into pit road. He carried a lot of speed when he dropped down there, but once he got passed by the top 2 people that he put a lap down, it was crucial at that moment that he had to go. So now I think this is his 4-tire stop that he's going to make, and he's not going to make another pit stop.
Yeah. Next, let's see if we can. Well, actually, Combat Beast right now, he's on track. He's actually being held for a penalty. So it's going to be a long 30 seconds for Combat Beast. We're going to switch on over back to Cinepuse. And as he comes across the line, we're talking 51 laps. So I just mentioned they can go 52 laps on a tank of fuel. So everybody that pit a few laps before that 54, there you go. That was his strategy. He went that extra distance. He can go the rest of the race. He might coast to the line on that very last lap, but he can go the rest of the way, where the 15, the 4, the 8, and well, maybe not the 8, even though he just got held for a penalty, that still may not be enough to keep him outside of the top 3. He was top 5 before that speeding penalty, but pitting where he just did, that might have just saved that 8 cars race.
Right now, though, looking at what Cinepuse is, it actually showed only these cars could take 36 in the tank based on what his pit stop screen was showing. So right now, I don't think it's going to be.
Okay, I
think the question here might be of the difference between a 2-tire stop and a 4-tire stop, because you got to think. The math, these guys that pitted, King Mathers that pitted before that 54, he's going to have to take at least 1.5, 2 cans of fuel to be able to make it to the end. And at that time, you know what, go ahead, slap 4 tires on there, because that's how long that pit stop's going to be anyways. When you're this 54, 10 laps of fuel cut into that run, and then you could save a little bit more here. This opens the door for possibly 2 tires, especially with that gap between him and the guys behind him that he can extend now with 5, 6 laps fresher tires. I mean, that just shows the multiple strategies that have been laid out throughout this race, and I think this is a good one that this 54 might be playing out here.
I'll tell you what, Balls, we thought the 54 pit late the 22 of Yotes King. He's actually on his way down pit road right now in this Odyssey battery Ford Mustang. So it seems like he might even have a little bit different of a plan. I don't have an on board with him to see exactly how he's doing, but yeah, he's I think probably the latest to come on down pit road.
Yeah, it's kind of smart for these guys to try to stretch it a little bit further. I mean, the fresher tires that you have later in the run, while these guys are struggling on the speed here and on the slickness of the track, it's going to give them an opportunity to make some passes that they normally wouldn't have been able to make. So good on the 22, and the 54 definitely is trying to put this race behind them.
Yeah, 54 is strong. Expert, we normally after one pit stop, green flag pit stop, we are very spread out. Now after 2 green flag pit stops and 3 cars lagged out, we are very spread out. I really think with how equal some of the speeds are, I think as they run is probably very possibly how they finish, unless we get that caution to fly. We got just about 42 laps left to go, give or take. Everybody will have to pit one more time. I'm guessing I read where it said laps left versus laps in the tank after a full fuel run. But yeah, as Cinepuse crosses the line, 42 laps remaining here from Iowa. And guess what? We get to do this one more time tomorrow night with the Cup guys when they get to the track about 8:30 Eastern.
Definitely, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see the transition from the Xfinity to Cup Series with how those guys handle the track. And I'm sure a lot of these guys that are going to either watch right now or watch back this race and see what they can learn moving forward for the Cup race tomorrow from the Xfinity race tonight. We're learning a lot about strategy tonight, and I'm even going to throw this dollar in the hat here as well. The 22 only has to save 8 laps of fuel. At Iowa, that is certainly not impossible. Keep an eye out. The rest of these guys are going to have to pit. That 22, I'm not so sure.
Balls, what do you think?
I've seen people save it here, but it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do and who's able to save what. I mean, the 54 is on the strategy of his own, so was the 22. But the guys who are a little bit behind the 8 ball, they're going to have to rely on the shifter. They're going to have to shift down into neutral, get around the corner, go the shortest distance around the track. Don't run the wall, run the bottom. Glue yourself to the yellow line here, and hope that kind of bank on a caution if you can get one.
Yeah, I mean you'd have to. Talking about the Cup guys tomorrow night. Right now, so far they've got just as many as what started tonight in the Xfinity series already saying that they're going to be here. So there's 16 people that said they'll be on the track to try to battle it out. But there's always a whole lot of people at the very last minute before 5 o'clock p.m. before that cutoff that say, yeah, I'll be there, and we end up with just about 25 cars. So we'll have about 10 more cars on track tomorrow than we had tonight, and that's absolutely going to lead to a whole lot more racing with the 10 or 12 cars that are left. As spread out as they are, there's very few battles on track left. They're just really trying to catch up to somebody to even have a little bit of a race going through. Yeah, not much going on right now, Expert.
Yeah, and right now it's just going to be the play on strategy. Keep that in mind. That's going to be the thing that we're going to have to watch out for as the 54 attempts to put more and more guys a lap down. It's going to come down to what guys can do as far as strategy. I've been on board with Yotes King looking at his entry. He's not really running the bottom, but if you hear his engine tone on how he enters and exits the corner, he backs off on entry and has a late exit throttle push, in which it sounds like that 22 could be saving.
That 22 could absolutely be saying, we got to say goodbye to the one and only TN Balls for tonight. Being in the U.S. Army is a never-ending, no-shift job. So, Vols, definitely appreciate you for coming out tonight. Go do whatever you got to do, man. Be all you can be. To quote an old slogan, we'll be here for you, buddy, when you get back. If not, maybe we'll catch you tomorrow night. But thank you very much for stepping out with us, sir. All right, gonna keep on going about these guys. I'm gonna pull back up to Cinepuse's stream, or let's see, who did I just have? Yeah, Cinepuse. He's sitting in P9. Wow, this is an interesting change. Cinepuse is actually just now pitting. How is that we missed the 11 of Cinepuse? He's coming off track with a full fuel run. He's talking 36 laps. Could Cinepuse have really just locked up the race for himself?
I'm not too sure. He was already 1 lap down from the instant before. I think he would be about 2-3 laps down. I don't think you can make that up in a fuel run right now. I think that speeding penalty from earlier really hurt his chances at possibly pulling off that type of a strategy. But hey, we've seen crazier things happen. I think I think you and me can both agree.
I saw Combat Beast get a speeding penalty. I didn't see the 11 get a speeding penalty. I
thought it was the 11 that got it. I'm not too sure.
Nope, that was the 8 Hellman's car for Combat Beast. Let's see, as he comes back out on track, it puts him in P11, and yeah, you were right, 2 laps down. So while he's off the pace, he's easily going to be able to make up one of those laps. But with the amount of time that he might be able to gain here, depending on how hard other people race him, we'll have to see just how much time he can make up. He won't have to pit again, where everybody else will have to pit one more time.
Well, the guy, if this strategy works out for him, the guy, in my opinion, that he's racing, if he is pulling the safe strategy that I think he is, he's just letting guys by at this point.
Yeah.
I think he's racing that 22, because that 22, he's not putting up a fight with anyone. Yep. Anyone at all. And I think that's a huge flag that just says, hey. Yeah, I'm just letting these guys go.
Well, Commando Grip, he just came out of pit road as well. So I'm either...
big wreck.
Where?
On the entry of pit road, the 18, the 98, and a multitude of other drivers. I also believe the one of Cole 315 was involved. Not sure if we're going to get a caution for that, as it was on pit entry, but 3 guys go around, and that's going to put damage on those cars.
Yeah, I definitely saw the hood all crimpled up for the 18 of iRace Clean. So we'll have to see, and I definitely did see the 98 of Master Killer to his outside. You're talking about the 22 of Yotes King. He just allowed the 4 car of PTH the GOAT to get on by. I really don't think he put up that much of a struggle. Either that, or it's also been a little bit since he was on and off pit road. Maybe his tires trying to navigate around the high side are just flat done. 27 laps to go per Cinepuse, which is actually 25 to go for everybody else on the lead lap. It's absolutely coming down to all about fuel.
And just letting you know, Pete, that leader of the 54 has already gone down pit road. I'm keeping my eye right here on that 22. Guys to look out for if this strategy is going to work out for him. Keep an eye on the 22. Keep an eye on the 11. Those are going to be the guys that are possibly going to be the ones to look out for. The 11, I'm not so sure about. I'm still thinking he possibly got a penalty as well, because he came around what should have been for position if he was on the same strategy. He was just unlapping himself from the 54 right there, still sitting in 8 as the 54 exited pit road.
I'm going to guess that we've got a manual caution. Yep. Looks like the 8 car Combat Beast, which was just in the lead, he just took the lead. This is really going to benefit him, because unless they just went down pit road, they're going to be coming back again. Combat Beast, he's going to have P number 1 behind him. Let's see what it says. I can tell you from 6th through 10th is going to be Commando Grip, Tweeter, Cinepuse, Master Killer, and Cole 315. Combat Beast is showing me KFB 18 behind him. PTH the GOAT is going to be in P number 3. And as you see, a long line of cars behind this Hellman's Camaro.
And the one thing, old tweeter in 7th, keep that in mind, 7th is going to be your lucky dog.
Yeah, you're 110% right. Guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break so I can get something here. Yeah, this non-stop talking, trying to keep up with everything that's going on. I am a bit parched. We will be right back. 30 seconds. Good racing, good racing. A lot of separation, but a lot of good racing. And that's empty. Crap. Oh well. So what say you, subscribers? What do y'all think about the race tonight so far? I would say not too shabby, but let me know what you think out there in the chat. 23 laps remaining. It's gonna be a shootout under the lights one more time.
And this is going to be looking at all these guys here that are going to have to take a wave around. We're seeing pretty much deja vu. It's not it's not an intentional beef with two drivers that happened out here tonight. But the one thing is that KFB, King Mathers, PTH the GOAT, guys that have dominated this race are going to have to battle through traffic once again to see if they can get back up there in the top 3. And it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do. A lot of guys are going to have to take the wave around to hopefully get back up front.
NNR Monster, a.k.a. No, I'm not even going to say a.k.a. and insult you like that. Chevy, my buddy. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you, man. I think that's what, like 500 or something like that from you tonight? Man, thank you very much for all the bits that you've shared. Baritone Boss, thank you very much for the sub. I know I'm just catching up. I know Vols fan, he gifted a bunch of subs as well. I know Silent Killer and a couple others were in there as well. Man, thank you all very much. So, Expert, we're about to stack these guys up. 20 laps to go, give or take, unless we come around one more time to allow the lucky dog to go ahead and grab his lap back. What are we seeing for a restart here, bud?
I mean, this is going to be... I stepped on my toes earlier right now because the 54 is actually going to be one of the few guys that didn't have to go get a wave around and get a lap back. He stayed out on track and was able to capture the lead right here. I think they're trying to get organized in everybody's position, but the 54 right now sitting in the lead. Not sure how the timing's going to work out with that, but I believe he's going to be on older tires than all the guys behind him right now. You got Combat Beast, he's on 4 fresh, and the guys behind him, not sure how it's going to work out looking throughout the field, but of course a lot of good guys that have a long way to go to possibly make a run at this.
Yeah, but one guy that's up at the top of the field that was doing very, very well, keeping up with with the front 4, front 5, and pulling away from the pack that was behind him is now sitting in P number 2. So yeah, we got KFB 18. He's led a bunch of laps tonight. Combat Beast, when he smells the front, he can be downright deadly. So we'll have to see if he's going to have anything for him. Looks like the 10 car of Tweeter, you mentioned it. He's going to be the lucky dog. So as they come across the start stripe, they're going to go ahead and double file back up. There you go. 8 cars pulling back to the outside. It looks like you're going to have the 4 car of PTH the GOAT, and behind the 8 is going to be the 22 of Yotes. So some guys that played a little bit more fuel strategy now starting up a little bit further, and oh yeah, they're on fresh tires now also.
And that's what I was telling you, Pete. That's going to be the important factor here of what these guys can do. Yotes played the strategy like I said. I'm surprised Centipuse didn't go back or didn't gain more actually with that when he went back down. He's going to be sitting back in about 8th, but they're about to get ready to go at it again here as we're about to enter the restart zone.
Yeah, PTH to go in that 4 car, really giving a little bit of a bumper shot to that 54, saying, hey man, let's go. 54 with a great shot. Looks like the 8 car, a Combat Beast, he's going to be able to find a gap pretty quick, get to the bottom. 4 car, PTH to go up on the high side. 22 of Yotes King, he's up on the high. 15 of Mathers, he's now down low, and he's got some help right behind him as well. All these cars, it seems like we've gone from a big old pack down to just a few, I want to say, 10 or 11 cars. 54 has the entire field in his rear view. I know I say that a lot at some of these cookie cutter tracks and a few other places, but where does it mean more than at a short track? Except Iowa, where you've got multiple lanes. Expert, does anybody venture to that outside to get on by the 54?
Well, right now, Combat Beast certainly is going to try it. He's got the momentum. He's going to venture out to that outside. He couldn't pass him on that inside, and now it's going to bite that 8 in the butt. As right now, here comes the 4, here comes the 15, the guys that have challenged that 54 the most. And the problem for the 54 is he was able to maintain a gap once he got into clean air. He's not in clean air anymore, and the one guy who's been best in traffic and battling with guys, in my opinion, is going to be that 4 of PTH the GOAT, and he is saying, knock, 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 here, kitty, kitty.
Yeah, PTH to go now, sitting P2, King Mathers P3, and the 8 car of Combat Beast P4. Yotes King sitting back there in P number 5. Yotes not only fast here on heat, but he's fast over on the iRacing side as well. The 4 up high, King Mathers sticking down in that middle lane. 8 car Combat Beast all over the back bumper of the 15. Where does Yotes go? Where does the 11 go? Where do all these guys go to try to get on by the 54? PTH to go up high. Little bit of momentum coming to the line one more time. We've got just about 13 laps remaining to settle this one down.
And this is going to be a big question. He got pinched in the wall in the backstretch, was able to hold the momentum, a little bit of contact between them. Question is there any damage on that right front of the 4 as the 54 is going to drop it back down below him? This is going to be the battle between 2 of the best rookies in this class, and these guys still battling it out side by side. You have the guys behind them of Combat Beast and King Mathers. They got to be licking their chops right now because we still got I'm not going to say we have forever, but we still have just about a little over 10 laps to go. 10 laps is a lot on tires, especially if you're battling side by side.
Absolutely. This 4 car is doing everything that he possibly can, and I'm going to guess that the 54 of KFB 18 was listening to Vols the other night when he was saying, hey man, if somebody's coming up to you, give him a little bit of a love tap on that back quarter panel. They're going to see it, they're going to slow down, or they're going to feel it rather, and they're going to slow down. Either that or just trying a little bit of a side draft. 4 car still keeping it wound up now with exactly 10 laps remaining. Man, these they've come across the line a couple of times so far where you'd have to have a photo finish in order to determine the leader. And oh, by the way, while these guys are battling, the 15 just kind of saying, y'all go ahead and get together, wreck it out. I'll be there to pick up the pieces. The 8 car Combat Beast still sitting there at P4, and Yotes hasn't left the top 5 yet. Everybody now migrating down to the bottom except for the 4 car. Is there strength in numbers on the bottom even though the high side has the momentum?
Well, when you talk about strength in numbers, I think the big question is going to be in the number of laps and the number of laps it takes King Mathers to get below this 54. I think the 54 has already wore out his stuff from battling side by side and trying to hold on to that 4. He threw it in a bunch of corners. But Mathers, being the guy who, in my opinion, has been the conservative one and been able to lean on his stuff at the end of races, heck, I'll give him the Kevin Harvick treatment. He is the closer, in my opinion. And right now, he is closing in to the back bumper of that 4.
Yeah, closing in. Here comes that 13 of Commando Grip. He's going to be able to find a hole underneath the 54. 54 now finds himself all the way back in P6. 22 of Yotes gets on by. 13 of Commando Grip that we were talking about earlier being up inside the top 4. 13, 22 leaning on each other. 54 getting underneath the 13, pushing him up track. All this happening while the 15 and the 4 kind of skate away just a little bit. Now the top 5, except for the top 2, are all single file. Where does Combat Beast go if the top 2 get side by side?
And that's going to be the question. Whatever door that opportunity opens, that's where he's got to be able to put it. That's what I'm talking about, availability of what you can do. 4 in the wall on the front straightaway. That's going to allow the 15 to carry the momentum right here. He's going to dive it down as we now have 5 laps to go.
5 laps to go. Do you think that all that time up on the high side has really tightened up that 4 to where he can't really skate around the high anymore? He just didn't loosen up the car enough for this run, or did he just not anticipate someone being able to keep up with him for the first, 10 laps or so since we went back green? Still, the 15 and the 4 battling hard. 8 car, 22. There's the... I'm not quite sure who I saw behind the 8 for Elkino. It's going to be the 22 and the 54. He's been able to make a couple of moves to get on back by the 13 and move back into P5 across the line one more time. 3 to go.
And this is going to be the time that it gets rowdy with these guys side by side. The 4 made a pretty aggressive crossover the last time that we got to this part. The 15 was able to cross him over now. Now switching lanes back and forth, and the 8 has just been catching. He's pretty much just been instigating this battle right here. Like, guys, keep going, keep putting the pressure on each other. Right here, the 15 and 4 still side by side. One carries the momentum, the other backs it up a little bit and is able to try to get a run off the corner. Here we go. Now the 4 is going to be able to clear this 15 here. As we cycle around, we're going to be hitting the white flag this time side by side to the line here for the white flag. A little bit of contact here to start it. Still side by side, going to dive it into turn 1. The 4 is going to back up the corner a little bit more, but here comes the 15. 4 is going to try to get that run on the high side, but that 15, he's going to give the tap to the back bumper. Contact, and more contact. Still side by side. 15 is going to try to throw it in. A little bit of push from the 8. But here we go off the corner. The battle for the win, and it's going to be the 4 of PTH to go, winning here at Iowa.
PTH, the GOAT, knocking it out of the park. Great side-by-side multi-lap battle between him and the 15. The 8 car and the 22 as well as the 54. They're back there battling for P number 3 as well. So it looks like we're going to have PTH to GOAT. King Mathers 1-2. Combat Beast works his way into the top 3. Yotes King 4th. KFB 18 5th. Commando Grip 6th. Old Tweeter in 7th. Cinepuse, the first car, 1 lap down. Vols was right. He said about 8 cars. Well, there were 7. You got the 8 of Cinepuse. You've got the 98 of Master Killer in 9th. And Cole 315 to round out your top 10. Congratulations. One more time. PTH, the GOAT. He got to win his very first start. He's going to back it up at a short track. Good job by him. All right, guys and gals, we're going to let those guys take their cool down time over in Team Comms for just a sec. We're going to be right back with your post-race interviews. Keep it right here. Definitely appreciate it. All right, welcome back. As I promised, we got our top 3 in the booth. Old Combat Beast, King Mathers, and tonight's winner, PTH, the GOAT. Combat Beast, it's repeat, buddy. You got me. Combat, if you can hear me, you are muted, sir.
Yes, I do.
There we
Sorry.
go.
My bad.
You're bad, I tell you. But I tell you what, you kind of got a little bit of a slow start to the race tonight. You spent a lot of time in the second half of the field, but in the latter half of stage 2 and really in the beginning of stage 3, you were able to get a little bit of separation from that part of the field and work your way up towards the top. I saw you, probably about 10 car lengths behind the 13 of Commando Griff. Griff obviously had a little bit of a hold on the top 4, and it really seemed like you and the 10 of Tweeter were coming. What do you think you would have needed if that caution hadn't come out? Oh, and by the way, just after you pit, so you were able to come on down. I'm sorry, when you stayed out, so you were able to come on down pit road, grab those 4 freshies, and get ready for that 20-lap shootout.
Actually, I was a lap down coming. Well, when the 54 pitted up, like right before that last caution, he was the leader. I was hoping and praying that I didn't die, cause I had a penalty. Cause me being me, I drove it in too deep on pit entry, and I was hoping and praying we would get a caution before he chased me down. But by the time he passed me, for some reason the 18 car was down on pit road, or was going into pit road. He got loose, came up into the 1 and me, which gave me front end damage, and then the 54 flew past us. And after a couple of laps, when I took the lead while he was in pit road, the caution came out.
Yep.
So that was the save in the book for me.
Well, man,
to get me back here.
It absolutely worked for you. It got you the track position that you needed. Another top 3, absolutely going to help you in the overall points. I guess since you were kind enough to fix your stream and allow us to use you as a second on board tonight, I'll forget about you wrecking me at Atlanta on iRacing just a couple of days ago. Buddy, thank you again. Congratulations on your top 3. Any shout-outs for you, man?
Good old NNR for helping this league go, and J-Paul hosting everything. King for Xfinity, thank you, buddy. UPE for broadcasting, showing everybody what we can do. And yeah, I think that's about all do it for me.
All right, man. Congrats again. Expert, I think you got King Mathers, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely, I got King Mathers over here. King Mathers, you got a copy, buddy.
I got you.
All right, man. You came away. A lot of times you had the dominant car, and then at times it looked like you kind of slid back. But we saw that so much during the season in which you have been the closer in these races. And if it took a different move or something like that, you definitely could have been the one in victory lane tonight. But what was it that allowed you to be so fast and closing on that 4 in those final few laps?
2 hours worth of practice before racing. I know that really helped out. Too bad Shadow lagged out and had his lagging issues there. We practiced and he gave me some pointers and he helped me out with the setup. So I was able to run loose and I actually hold it, and then cautions came out and then stages would end too, and then I would tighten it up a little bit more to see how it would handle in the long run. Just that high side would not work for me at all tonight. So everything I did was just make sure it was on the bottom, and I was able to get the runs in the middle too, and the 4 was fast, the 13 was fast. Just able to come home with a P2. I thought I had it, man. We hooked on the backstretch there, and we almost wrecked each other, which would have been really bad. But I just tried to give him a little bumper and a fender, you know, coming to the finish line. So, I thought I had him. I was looking at, you know, my first position, and then all of a sudden it switched at the line. I was like, oh man, so close.
Well, of course, you're moving on to next week at Dover, in which it's basically 3 tracks that run like short tracks in a row. How do you go and plan on tackling the Monster Mile?
Dover is a tough place for sure. You're gonna have to be consistent, just like this track and Richmond. Like I'm gonna be racing in American SNL hereafter. I'm just gonna attack it like I did tonight, and be aggressive and hopefully, you know, pull away from PTH and get myself a dub instead of having to come in the closing laps and try to win.
Well, definitely had a great performance tonight. Definitely something you can hang your hat on. Just came up a little bit short, but still, either way, any shout outs for from our second place driver tonight?
Yeah, shout out to you, shout out to Pete for putting on another broadcast. If it wasn't for you guys, you know, nobody would know who we were. So on the esports side, NASCAR side, you know, high racing side, I'll get there eventually. But shout out to American SNL, man, for still going. Hopefully we get some drivers tonight, and hopefully we have a good race at Richmond. And just shout out to whole NNR, man. Just great community, great people, great friends, man. Just awesome driving too in between it, like out of all 3 series and everybody I've met. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, now looking from King Mathers being our second place driver, I think Pete, don't you have a 2-time rookie winner in Victory Lane?
I do, and how about this guy they call the GOAT? PTH the GOAT to be exact. Buddy, I tell you what, you started up in the front, you're finishing in the front, you led a lot of laps, you took a stage. Way to get this done all night long, whether it was during manual cautions, game cautions, or whatever shook the track with y'all out there tonight. You were able to come on home, second win in your very, very short season since you just joined a few weeks ago. Talk us through your race, and was there a point in there where you might have doubted what you had, or did you feel pretty confident all night long?
Well, there was a point in the middle of the race where I made my car way too tight and I started fading. I fixed it, and I'm lucky I caught that caution there and it put me back in position to win, and I loosened my car up some, and it was ripping the high side, and I was able to get the lead and hold it. It was a fun race.
Man, it was a fun race to watch. It was a fun race to call. There was a span of about 30 laps or so where y'all got very, very spread out. I mean, it looked like y'all could have been easily able to run qualifying laps between each other without actually catching the back end of the car in front of you. But yeah, talking about that high side run that you had, when the caution came out with about 20 laps to go, it seemed like you really got your car hooked up on that high side, and that's ultimately what ended up helping you grab this win. Couple times you and King Mathers came across the line side by side. It would have been a photo finish. What exactly were you able to change with your car to get you to skate around that high side and really keep the momentum going?
I made a wedge adjustment and a right rear tire adjustment, and to allow me to get big runs off the corner because I was able to stay in the gas more.
Well, man, congratulations. I think this is your second win in like 5 weeks or something like that. Or it could be even less. But man, big congrats. It's absolutely going to give you a little bit of a shot in the points. Any shout outs, anybody out there in chat that's been keeping up with you, maybe not saying anything to either Expert Balls or I, or just maybe texting you or whatever. Anybody out there that you want to thank?
Yeah, man. Shout out to my buddy Sir Brunson. I told you I was gonna go back to tonight. I got it for you, man.
Yeah, Bronson was out there in chat, wondering where you were very, very early in the race. So there you go, man. Bronson, if you're still out there, your boy got it done for you, man. PTH the GOAT, congratulations, big time, one more time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it and hope to make it free at Dover next week.
Well, there you go. Expert PTH the GOAT's calling a line already, saying that he's going to be the one to watch when we get to the Monster Mile. We'll have to see if Miles the Monster is actually able to, be evaded. 250 laps around Iowa. We talked about some of the different tracks, the tracks that are left on the circuit, some that are falling by the wayside, including here, Kentucky, Chicagoland, and Auto Club. After tonight's race, the benefit stream that I talked about us doing a long time ago for the one and only Beamish Fern and others, I forgot how much fun this track can be. What'd you think about this track, and what are you looking forward to for tomorrow? Expert, if you're talking, you're muted. Can anybody hear Expert?
No.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
All right, so I'm going to guess something happened with Expert's mic or whatever. So we're just going to move on. All right, guys and gals, we got one more race tomorrow night, right about 8:30, same time that the Xfinity Series started. Time for them to go ahead and pack up their cars. Time for the cup haulers to pull in, get unloaded, and get ready to go. Definitely hope to see a whole lot of y'all out there. Should see between 20 and 25 cars ready to take the track, including this series admin. You know him, the number 22 of old J-Pa, sitting that Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang. J-Pa, I know you're there. Good luck tomorrow night. As far as everybody else, please, again, stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask, keep away from the crowds. Let's kick COVID in the cooler and get back to a track hopefully sooner than Daytona in August. Until then, I'll see y'all around the track.